Hello and welcome to the Global Solution webinar series hosted by S&P Global Mobility. This webinar is focusing on the next lighting innovation. It should give you a really nice update on the new market trends of the automotive lighting market. I hope you enjoy the next hour where we give you the latest insights from the lighting market. My name is Sascha Klapper. I'm Research and Analysis Manager at S&P Global Mobility, overlooking the exterior lighting and interior comfort portfolio. I'm here with my colleague, Laura Dong, Senior Analyst, also focusing in my team about lighting and interior at S&P Global Mobility. Hello and welcome, and enjoy the next hour of the webinar. The automotive lighting industry has become a very innovative and dynamic industry over the last couple of years, and we are seeing it even being more dynamic in the future. It is not anymore headlamp left, headlamp right, tail lamp left, tail lamp right. It's moreover brand recognition, safety, new designs, and personalization. For this, we are looking today at different parts of the lighting in the vehicle. First, we're looking at the more traditional positions like the front lighting and rear lighting. And then I hand over to my colleague Laura. She will look into ambient lighting and into the projection light. If I recall, in the past presentations I gave on the automotive lighting industry, normally I open those presentations or those conferences with a really big graph about the adoption rate, LED versus halogen. Today, I'm not opening the presentation that way because I don't think anymore. I don't think that there's a question anymore about LED. It is the light source of the future, and also if we look at current take rates, I mean, LED has already the majority of the market. Even if you're looking at markets like South Asia, which were more cost conscious in the past, also there we see that the LED adoption rate is really getting up, have really big momentum. That the customers also in those markets, the car buyers, they really demand LED. And today I also don't want really to discuss the advantages of the LED versus halogen. The only thing I really would like to highlight is the freedom of design you have with the LED. And this is really a game changer, especially when you're looking at the exterior lighting, the exterior illumination. And this is a really big game changer. Also when we're looking, or when we see in general the trend towards individualization, strong brand signatures. With all that, lighting is a really crucial element of this. When we're looking here specifically about the trend for electric vehicles, the uptake of EVs, you don't need the traditional grille anymore. You have a really big canvas in the front of your cars, which you can fill with design, with light. On the other hand, I mean, we always also seeing a lot of sensors there at the front of the vehicle, which are not really a lot beautiful. But with the lighting design, you can really nicely and elegantly hide those. In the next couple of slides, I will focus a bit on exterior illumination. I'm not really speaking about headlamps and tail lamps, but I would like to highlight what kind of new lighting trends we're seeing when it comes to the front end illumination. What I brought you here is a graph showing the grille illumination. We are distinguishing there between different types of grille illumination. We have a kind of contouring illumination. You can think about the BMW kidney, for example. We are talking about the full grille display. I mean, here we're talking about the real display in the front of the vehicle. And we distinguish also between the grille surface, the kind of illumination of the grille, the surface. I mean, example here, therefore, is the GLC there. It is not a display. It's more a surface illumination there, and then the logo illumination. The logo illumination has gained already quite a lot of momentum on the market. We see a lot of OEMs which put illuminated logos on the vehicle, also as kind of brand perception, additional as design element, recognition in the night, etc., etc. We see that right now OEMs clearly admitted that they want to put some other lighting elements on the grille. Grille contouring has the most momentum at the moment, while also grille surface will uptake there. While we're still a bit conservative when it comes to the grille display, in many cases there's still question marks around if it is legal or if it is not legal, and also a question if it's really needed. Display also has a high maintenance. Just imagine you have an accident, you would need to change the entire front display. But in general, what we see that OEMs, mainly driven from China, I need to say, are playing around with the entire front end illuminating. Historically, lighting innovation was driven by namely the German premium manufacturers, talking about Audi, talking about BMW or Mercedes-Benz. When it comes to the grille illumination, I mean, they're still at the forefront there. But the things are changing. We are foreseeing that the Chinese manufacturers are overtaking the exterior illumination market really quickly. There's a huge momentum in the industry, in the Chinese industry, which is mainly done by really quick innovation cycles. Also, the legislation in China is following the industry needs. Everything there is happening much quicker than happening from the German premium OEMs. Also, on the other hand, when we're talking about German premium OEMs, I mean, we're talking always about OEMs with a legacy behind. Customers clearly expect that the BMW looks like a BMW, even if they buy it with different light design. But at least they want some brand recognition that is still a BMW. While Chinese OEMs, I mean, they're highly innovating there, they're experimenting. They still try to find their signature. They still try to find their place in the market. So for that, they're much more open also to put new designs there on the market. On the vehicles. I mean, here you see in the pie chart here the leading in 2025. I mean, of course, the picture will change when we're looking at 2031. But BMW, as the German premium, is one of the leading ones there, as mentioned already. But then we see already Aito, Geely, Changan are really quickly following the German premium OEM. Another thing not mentioned before is the welcome light function. When you approach the vehicle, when you unlock your vehicle, there's a light installation that is staging your vehicle. Also, this trend we see clearly increasing, giving you as a driver an additional design feature of the vehicle, giving you an additional, well, how can I say? I mean, it is nice that your vehicle is welcoming you. You might program it also, make your own signature, your own light signature. This is all possible. All this has a really big momentum in this the market, and you see it is much more than the traditional headlamp or the tail lamp. We see completely different functions there right now. Leaving the grille illumination, and let's having a look a bit more on more classic lighting, talking about the DRL. The DRL is first of all, a safety-driven lamp on the vehicle. I mean, we should not forget that lighting is not only design. I mean, I mentioned a lot of times lighting design. OEMs want to define a design language, signature, etc. Lighting, first of all, is still purely safety. I mean, it's all about seeing better and to be seen better. So for that, the DRL is one of those lamps with this approach. And the DRLs, I mean, they're mandatory actually across different regions. DRLs, almost every vehicle right now has a DRL. But there are still some significant differences actually in the layout of the DRL, how the DRL is designed, and how the overall vehicle is appearing. We are distinguishing in our forecast between integrated DRLs, meaning that the DRL is only integrated in the headlamp. Then there are also vehicles which can have integrated DRL in the headlamp, but then it is also the DRL is expanding out of the headlamp, spreading across the front end. We're talking here about light bars. If you're just thinking about Mercedes-Benz vehicles, they have, for example, DRL spreading from the left headlamp to the right headlamp. And then we have vehicles which have a complete separated DRL. In those vehicles, the DRL does not, or is not part of the actual headlamp. In general, we see a trend towards having more separated DRLs in the vehicle, also integrated and separated DRLs. Well, clearly we see that in the future, only the pure integrated DRLs are getting less and less. I mean, this has to do also with the overall brand perception, with the overall design, how the OEMs want to place their vehicles on the market with a more attractive DRL design. And then further on, when it comes to the itself, to the design, when we're looking about separated DRLs, there can be multi-line DRLs, just more light guides in there, or just a single line with the DRLs a single light outside of the headlamp, or DRLs some split lines. And we see also that there can be full DRL matrices. I think Audi is a really good example for that. You can have optional DRL matrix on their vehicle. And then we see a really, it is a relatively small market, but also we capture if there's a display as a DRL. I mean, in terms of future trends, what you're seeing here, the multi-line and the DRL single line outside of the headlamp, separated DRLs are clearly increasing over the future, while we see also increasing matrix DRLs still in the market. I mean, I have to say that this is mainly based on the OEM, how they want to design their vehicle, how they decide that the vehicle will appear in the future. It is less based on pure technological advancements and so on. So for that, we see that the OEMs are going to this direction, having more integrated plus separated or separated DRLs in the future, with more multi-line and single line DRLs out of the actual headlamp there. Now let's talk safety. I mentioned way too much design in the last slide. Let's talk about safety. I mean, now we're not talking anymore about exterior body illumination, displays, grille illumination, DRL design. I mean, now we're talking about a real design-driven technology. It is the ADB, the Advanced Driving Beam. Just remember, everybody on this webinar, this is a system where you can travel permanently with your high beam without dazzling other road users. There are single LEDs in the headlamp which you automatically turn on and turn off the segments where the upcoming traffic is coming. that you're not blinding them with your light beam. ADB is a really big trend happening globally. Currently in 2025, we're talking about roughly below 20% of penetration, while we see that it will go above 20%, 23, 24% penetration in the future in 2031. It is still to be expected also what is happening in North America. There's still somehow unclear where OEMs will go with ADB because there are some different regulations in place. In the past, it was actually completely forbidden, but right now, OEMs, they're starting to offer also ADB in the North American market. But we see it still quite conservative there in the future due to the regulation and the testing environment there. Nevertheless, ADB, big global trend, initiated from the German premiums, but now spread all over, also about European volume OEMs. We also see it in B segment vehicles. Also China, really big market for ADB. And when you're talking also Japan and Korea, they're all playing in the game of ADB. In many cases, it's still an optional technology. Only if you're looking at higher sales segments, they will have a serial application of a DRL system. Looking the markets, different markets here, as mentioned already, China is one of the leading players right now in the global ADB market, followed by Europe and Japan and Korea. While when we're looking at North America, as mentioned, due to regulation and testing, there's still a lot of question marks in the market, and we do not see a big momentum over the next year for ADB systems. While looking at South Asia and South America, I mean, these are really cost-conscious markets at the moment. Since we're still talking about the additional cost when we put in an ADB system in there. It is not cheap, I know. So for that, I mean, we see it more in the major markets at the moment rather than in the developing markets. There are also some differences between different ADB systems. Mainly it is based on the pixel or segments you bring on the street out of your headlamp. We categorized 4 different ADB systems. We categorized 4 different pixel ranges. We have a ultra low ADB system where we have below 9 pixels per vehicle, meaning that you have maximum 4 per headlamp in there. It is really cost-effective technology. You find it a lot in Japanese A-segment vehicles. Also, the first Opel Corsa, the first B-segment vehicle in Europe with an ADB system was equipped with 4 pixels per headlamp. Then the next category, we have 9 between 40 pixels. This is an ADB entry system. We're talking here about, for example, Volkswagen ID.3. Then we have between 41 and 500 pixel, and everything which is above 500 pixel. In general, we see a switch or shift towards more pixel in the ADB systems. I mean, the entry system between 9 and 40 pixel, we see it's the most common ADB system. It's quite cost effective and it does its job. A clear enhancement of the safety, mainly driven also by China, by the market in China. While we see in Europe specifically, we are shifting towards higher pixel solutions in there. Since also we see over the last years there has been a decrease in the overall price, and there are also coming new technologies in there. For example, if you look everything above 500 pixel, in the past we had the DMB systems there where you brought 1.2 million pixels on the street. But now we see also with recent developments, we talk about 3,000 pixel, 10,000 pixel, or everything below 100,000 pixels, which is clearly more cost effective than the DMD projection here. And we see specifically in Europe, Cupra, for example, as a volume brand, is switching also about above 500 pixel. Volkswagen already started that. Volkswagen as brand, but also if you look at the Volkswagen for Porsche, it's going into this direction of having more than 500 pixel in there. Yeah, I touched it already briefly. There's some differences in the regions itself. While we see that Europe is clearly moving towards higher pixel solutions, the lower pixel solutions are decreasing over time. While we see that in China, we still see a big momentum there. The entry-level ADB systems between 9 and 40 pixel, while the middle solution between 45 and 41 and 500 is not really getting momentum. We see that there's an immediate switch actually to go to above 500 pixel, and there we're speaking already on about road projection there. Laura later will have a close look at the road projection and different technologies about that. All in all, more pixel on the street in China and in Europe, more vehicles with ADB systems over the next year, because it's really clear safety enhancement of the overall vehicle. We've been talking quite a lot about the front lighting, illumination, headlamps, grille illumination, DRLs. I would like to have also a look to complete the overall picture about the exterior lighting. I would like to have a look at the rear lighting. What we see here, we see also a quite good shift towards the full LED tail lamp. Talking about every tail lamp function is a full LED, brake light, reverse lamp, rear fog lamp, position lamp, etc., etc. Also here, it is foreseen that we have a really clear shift towards LED, while the conventional bulb tail lamp, yeah, I don't think it's even a big question, will be quite marginal in the future. Also, LED conventional combination tail lamps is still on the market, but also in the future we see it declining. A big question in the past was about LED OLED tail lamps, but I think also there we don't see a really big and clear future in that. I mean, this is just a niche technology, mainly used from Audi. We do not see it really widely spreading across other OEMs. I mean, it is first of all a really expensive technology. Second of all, with optics, you can pretty good imitate an OLED look tail lamp. A big momentum actually has the rear bar, what we call it. It is spreading from the left rear lamp to the right rear lamp. This has a really big momentum at the moment because it is also design driven here. You have also better recognition of the vehicle. We see this in China. The Chinese market is pretty advanced in that, while other markets are gearing up to offer also a rear bar design in the tail lamp. In general, we see it as continuously rising to have the rear bar. Here's some examples I brought to you for some state-of-the-art developments in the overall rear lamp design. Also here, similar to the front lighting, we find also some matrix display rear lamps, like you see here from the Ito. Another trend here, when we're looking at the wall thickness optical design, I think the Haval is a really good example here, what you see there on the picture. I mean, undoubtedly, this adds also overall costs on the rear lamp. But we see it there. It is already on the market. We can see it being on the car. And then, on the other hand, the ADS lights, which gives an indication for autonomous driving if you're behind. Those are also some future developments, what we're seeing actually on the rear lamp. Mini LED is in discussion on the rear lamp. But in general, I mean, rear lamp traditionally, when we're comparing it also with the front lighting, rear lamp was, in terms of costs, always cheaper, more cost effective than front lighting. But when we're talking about matrix displays, wall thickness rear lamps, there we see also that there's some additional content added, which drives also the costs. Also, talking like from the previous slide, where I talk about rear bars, also there is a cost add and an additional cost on that because you also need different tooling to mold this tail lamp parts. But in general, the tail lamp, the rear lighting has also still quite a lot of white canvas there to be added some more innovations there in the future. But with this, I would like to leave the traditional lighting space, exterior lighting, front lighting, rear lighting, even though I showed you some innovation there, what's happening. But now I would like to give the word to my colleague, which will walk you through ambient lighting, looking at the interior of the vehicle, and also looking at the projection lighting. For that, thanks for your attention, and over to you, Laura.
Thank you, Sasha, for the research and insight about the front lighting and the rear lighting. It's my turn. Hello, everybody. I am Laura Dong. I'm the SP Global Mobility Interior Lighting Analyst. I'm based on Shanghai, China. Today, I'll introduce some insight about ambient lighting and projection lighting to you. Let's start. Firstly, let's have a look about the ambient lighting market. So in the past years, ambient lighting is always focused on the half or not half, or if it is half, it's RGB light or it's pure light. But now when we see the new interior lighting design, just like the left picture, it's a very good example from a car. The brand is Rongwei. It's a Chinese brand car from Shanghai Motor Companies, and it's a concept car named Pearl. The picture is, I take the photo from the Shanghai Auto Show this year. It's a very good example to show that the single color ambient lighting also can show a very good design language about the whole smart carving design. And we can see in the right side about the global trend from ambient lighting. The chart indicates that the global forecast about that. We can see the demand for ambient lighting components is projected to reach rapidly through the 2031, with China leading the way by a significant margin. Each year from 2026 to 2031, China's market value far exceeds that of each region, such as Japan, Korea, Europe, and North America. And the growth rate is also higher. This reflects the strong consumer preference in China for massive cockpit aesthetics and personality experience, also the driving rapid innovation and adoption of ambient lighting. So for the suppliers, the Great China will be the most crucial market to focus on the coming years. So let's have a look about the ambient lighting design by different positions. So there's two pie charts. and we separate them by the region for China and region Europe. There are some similars. For example, the most popular position are all docker panel, front view, and X-ray panel. But there's also some difference. For example, in region China, the favored design are door handled and the OHC parts. But for Europe market, there's the different position like car box and the roof of the cars. This difference is very close to tied to the design concept and the application trend of the roof and sunroof in some regions. For example, in China, most of the EV cars, they use the fixed sunroof in their cars, which can give more space fillings for passengers, also the drivers. But in Europe market, there's not much BEV cars as much as China market, and part of the cars use the openable sunroof, so which means they have the space of the roof to design this ambient lighting. So this difference about the carbon design also affect the design of the ambient lighting components. Let's have a look about projection lighting. So projection lighting is our new research in the past years, and we published them in the beginning of this year. We separate them by front projection lighting and the side rear projection lighting. So for the front projection lighting, actually it is part of the headlamp, or we call front lighting system, part of them. So there's two different technology trends by different markets. For some market or some OEM, they use this front projection lighting as part of the ADB system. For some market or OEM, they use the front projection lighting as only for project. Before I give you more details about the trend, I want to explain what is ADB. So ADB actually, the full name is Adaptive Driving Beams, which is part of the high beam system of the cars. So the ADB refers to intelligently adjust the high beam by pixel, selected the dimming portions of the beam, and create glare-free zone and avoid dazzling other road users. So this technology provides higher illumination than traditional high beams without increased glare for other road users, significantly improves the safety and visibility, allow drivers to see a wider area of the road without causing discomfortable to others. So the front projection lighting as high pixel ADB refers to a higher resolution ADB lighting system. So technically, standard ADB system will have around range 12 to 48 pixels, while higher pixel ADB can reach to more than 1 million pixels. So the more pixel have, the more good of the lighting control area, and the better the control pressures, and the better the anti-glare effect. However, in the high pixel ADB application or component, the single high pixel lighting source cannot meet the high beam requirements of the automotive lighting regulation by each of the region. So, which means additional high brightness lighting source are required to supplement the intensity and the light pattern. So therefore, use the front projection lighting as a high pixel ADB, which is not cheap. That is also a challenge for use the expensive lighting system in front of the cars. So let's go back to the slide. So the right pie chart, we can obviously see there's some main players in the market. So Volkswagen, Mercedes, and BYD, they're top 3 OEM who have invested or who have most interesting about the front projection lighting market. Also, you can see the very common or famous Chinese brands, OEM. They invest or they have used this technology in their cars, like Huawei, GV, and Chang'an. Also, in the right part of the chart, it is penetration rates by different regions. So actually, each of the regions for this technology is increased, but compares, because we show the percentage there, so compares to different regions, the China is the most market who will drive this new technology and use this new technology in their cars. It is also related to this different technology trend. So, for example, in Europe market, most of the players, they use these high pixel solutions as part of the ADB system. But in China, they only use this as projection. So it will project the patterns or as the copyright or the warning message in front of the road to show this information to road users. They are not used this as part of the ADB system, which means they don't need to use two components. One that is enough. That is basically different reasons about the chart behind. Let's go to more examples in the mass production cars by different OEM and the different markets. So in this slide shows actual vehicle cases in the technology solutions. It shows very clear diversity in front projection lighting technology. So in this picture, we can see that single module solution, such as just use one DLP as front projection lighting source. And also we see that use two DLP projection and use two multi-pixel LED projection, such as the BYD Yangwang U7, Neo ET9, and the Volkswagen Paramount Pro. So different OEMs in different markets show the different technology plan. This different approach reflects the automakers' trade-off between cost, performance, and the market need. The DLP achieved more complex and clear ground pattern, while the multi-pixel lighting balanced the cost and the functionality. So as consumer demand for smart and personality features grow, this technology diversity will accelerate the innovation in the market. So we also got the message from some OEMs in China market that they have the plan to use only one single multi-pixel LED in front of the cars. They only use as projection, not a relevant ADB. It is kind of value add for consumers, so they can use this lighting system to do some welcome, lock, unlock, some patterns projection. So most of them are not like the ADB system, but more on the decoration or welcome functions, which brings to the drivers or the also relevant to the other road users. So when you're trying to turn to right or turn to left, you can project the symbols in front of your road, so other road users will notice that what you're planned to change the way of your in front of your road. So that is very helpful to improve the road safety. And next slide, let's have a look about the side and the rear projection lighting. So we separate them by different functions. One is signaling, another one is decoration. A signaling projection is actually part of the whole signaling lighting system. For example, when you turn to right or you turn to left, or you will be brake. So part of the whole exterior lighting system will show the red color or yellow color to other road users to indicate what you will to do. This signaling projection is actually kind of extension of this existing exterior lighting system, which means these functions have to be linked with the existing exterior signaling system. So the Toyota Corolla Cross, GT Sport, and Z version are the first mass production cars in the market, which have these signaling functions. For that, the Japan market, we focus that will be the first grow market about these components. In China, the regulation about signaling projection just passed in July of this year, 2025, which gives some guidance for the OEM to let them know where you can project, what kind of symbols you can project, and what kind of way you can project. Will be growth for this component applications in the past years. For North America, however, because there is some difference compares to federal regulation and each of the state regulations. So there's still some uncertainty about this new signaling projection. For the decoration, that's more wired market. It is purely depends on consumer preference because the decoration project is not allowed when the car is in driving status. It's not only allowed when the car is in parking status. So when you turn on or turn off, this decoration projection will show you some welcome or show your customized information around of your cars. For this specific functions, we can see that it will have a broader coverage, including all of the regions. From some of them, the Great China and Europe markets are big one from them. So the last slide, let's go to about the regulation part about projection lighting inside the rear, especially for signaling projection. As I said before, the decoration projection actually is just allowed to use when the car is in parking status. So if you're driving the car, the decoration projection is not allowed to open that. But for signaling projection, because it's part of the extent of the exterior signaling system, so it is allowed when the car is in driving system. The China regulation GB 5920/2024, light signaling device and system for motor vehicle and their trailers have been implemented from this year, July. So this is very important because it marks a new phase of standardization and innovative development in China market about the automotive lighting and the signaling sectors. So this move not only provides a clear legal framework and application basic for new lighting technology, but also include signaling projection lights, thereby greatly accelerate in mass production car and encourage each of the OEM to use or install this new technology. There is something we need to notice is this regulation is not forced. Every car have to install projection signaling lighting. So the OEM have the choice. You can use or they can't or they cannot use. It depends on their preference. So if they use, they will follow the guidance or the regulations there, where you can projection, what kind of pattern you allow to project, just in case the different OEM project different symbols or different patterns, make other road users very confused. So they separate this area by turning light projection, position light projection, and reverse light projection. It is not only helpful for the pedestrian, but also for other mobility users, such as bicycle, motorcycle. So it will help for about the safety of all of the road users, and we expect these functions will be increased in China market in the past few years. So yeah, that is all about my part about ambient lighting and projection lighting. So let's go back to the session and let's see if any questions from our audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura, for your insights here. Yeah, I'm looking actually at the time, and there's still some time left. So let's have a look at the Q&As, the Q&A session. Thanks also for submitting some questions. I mean, some of them we can answer immediately. If we don't answer your questions, no worry, we will follow up with you on this at a later point. Let me take actually the first question which pops in. I mean, the question is about why we're actually so conservatively forecasting the real front display, the display on the grille. Yeah, it's actually an interesting question, and I have been discussing this already quite some times. I mean, practically, there's no clear commitment right now from OEMs to the front display. I mean, costs are still a really driving factor on that because they're really expensive. Also, when you look at the maintenance on that, regulations behind also one really important factor. So when we're taking all these factors in consideration, we don't see really that there will be a major momentum from displays in the front or in the grille. We can say there will be solutions. I mean, mainly driven also from Chinese OEMs there. As mentioned also before, China for regulation is a bit more open than the European market. But in any case, I mean, or also let's mention the North American market, really conservative in terms of lighting. So I mean, what we can say here: costs, maintenance, safety, regulations. These are all reasons why we are really conservatively forecasting a real front display on vehicles. And then comes also the next questions. I mean, what you really want to display in those displays. These are the reasons why we're staying much more on the conservative side on this now. All right, I think yeah, I give it over to Laura. I think she can answer the next question which popped up.
I see there's a question about what do you think the pixel in front projection lighting, the million pixel is necessary or below this pixel just fine? So I think I can answer these questions. For our research, we separate the pixel by 3 different types. The first type is million pixel range, which means the pixel for per lamp, which is above 1 million pixel, such as the GLP lamp. And the second part is the pixel between 10,000 to 1 million. So for the mass production plan in the market, most of the pixel which around 10,000 to 30,000. It will depends on the optical design, also the lighting source difference. So there's also the third one. We noticed that there's some lighting source companies. They have the new product line, which is between 1,000 to 10,000 pixel in this range. They state this projector also support to project some pattern in front of the road. So all of these 3 different technology way, we also do the research and analysis in our database. We think it really depends on the OEM preference, so it's need to be balanced between the cost and the optical design. For example, if you really want to project the very dedicated videos, or you need to add some decoration or entertainment functions, the 1,000 pixel cannot support these functions. So the million pixel that is necessary. But if OEM think that the headlamp just need to project the carpet light or the very simplified symbol, and we think that the pixel below million, that is also okay for this design. So it really depends on the OEM preference and also what kind of the car the OEM want to put this technology on.
Thanks, Laura. I will take on the next one. I mean, it's around ADAS and front lighting. Question about how are ADAS or how is autonomous driving related to front lighting, if there might be some changes there. Yeah, well, I mean, the question is actually valid. If you have an autonomously driven vehicle, do you really need a full ADB system in front in your vehicle, which helps you actually to illuminate the street better if you don't drive yourself? Well, I mean, I think we're quite far away of having fully a level 5 autonomous vehicle. I don't even think a lot from the industry are really thinking about still that there will be a level 5 vehicle. I mean, at one point you still need to take your steering wheel in your hand, and at one point you also might drive during night times. So for that, ADB is a really safety driven technology there. We don't believe that this technology will disappear because, as mentioned, there will be always the moment that you will take the steering wheel in your hands, and then we aim for the maximum of safety during the night. So we don't see that ADAS or autonomous driving will disappear ADB headlamps in the future.
There's a question about the ambient lighting. What are the reasons why the market for ambient lighting will continue to grow? Thanks for the question. It's very interesting questions. So just like our pictures or the numbers showed before, we believe that the market for ambient lighting will be grow, especially in the market Greater China. We think there are like 3 reasons. So the first reason is the EV cars push the market increase very quickly, because that is the kind of way to show the difference compared to traditional cars and the EV cars. So ambient light will be very good examples, not only for the premier brand, but also for the brand who want to show their modern design and also their very technology smart carving. So ambient light have transfer from the optional specs to the standard spec. So actually, the consumer don't need to choose if they have to have this spec or not, because all of the trims, they will have this ambient light in their smart carving. So another reason is we think the cost for the ambient light have been reduced in the past years, not only from the lighting source side, but also from the controller planning. So in the beginning, there must be one controller who controlled several LEDs, but now we see the more and more integration technology plan, and also the new way to make the whole ambient lighting system make them cost down. So we think that is also very important reasons, because the prices decrease. So we think the market will be growth, which affect from these 2 reasons. There's a question asked about what are the reasons why the market for automotive ambient light will continue to grow. Thanks for the question. I think there's 2 reasons. The first reason is that the consumer preference, especially in China market. So more and more EV brands, they want to branding their modern smart hybrid ideas for the consumers. They want to separate their traditional like ICE cars with their EV cars to try to make their difference. So the ambient lighting for the EV cars, which is not an optional spec, it's a kind of like standard spec, standard version. You don't need to pay additional money for this spec because all of the trims will have these functions. So in this reason, we can see that ambient lighting have become the very common specifications for the EV brand cars. And another reason that is about the money, because we have seen that in the past years, the cost for the whole ambient lighting system have decreased. That is not only for the lighting source, but also from the cost, such as the light guide and also for the controller. So if we think the ambient lighting is not independent component, but that is have become the whole lighting system, the whole system cost have been decreased in the past years. That will also help for to expand the markets. So ambient lighting will be growth, especially for the market Great China in the next few years. Thank you. You see, there's a question about the numbers of the front projection lighting. So why just one module that can be used in the front projection lighting? So thank you for the questions. I would say that it's very often in some, especially for the Chinese brand OEM, because it depends on how they give the definition for the front projection lighting. So if it is a part of ADB system, which means you have to match the standards of ADB. ADB is part of the hybrid system, which means you have to match the request for hybrid. So for these scenarios, most of the cars will put two modules, one for left, one for right, to fulfill these functions. But in some OEM definitions, they think that ADB is ADB, hybrid is hybrid, and projection is projection. So they separate these different functions by different modules. So for these scenarios, that is possible. They only put one module for projection, and so in just like the left lamp or the right lamp. There's also have another benefit because you don't need to spend another additional time or cost to calculation how to merge two different lamp projection pictures when you designed these functions. So because there is just one module, so that will be very simplified and straightforward. That is not strange. It's very common plans. And we have seen some cars use kind of ideas. They just use one projection module in one side of their front lighting system. And it will become a very, I would say, very good example about the cost and performance balance for the front lighting system design.
Thank you, Laura, for your answer. I'm looking already at the time, and we're close to complete the full hour. As mentioned before, we will follow up with you on all the other questions which haven't been answered here in the Q&A session. Yeah, we came to the end here. I just would like to highlight our upcoming webinar. It will be on batteries unboxed, exploring the latest trends in pack and enclosure design and thermal management. This webinar will be live on October 16, 2025. All right. For that, thanks a lot, all of you, for your attendance, for your time you dedicated to the latest trends in the lighting industry. And I hope you took some really nice insights away. And if you have more questions, please feel free to contact us directly. I'm happy to discuss all of that. For that, thanks a lot for your time. Take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.